Gonna be my third time attempting to make this video. It's like every time I make this video, I try to listen to what I have recorded so far, and then a part of my audio just gets cut off. So I'm gonna try to do this again, right? So reality, we all came across these theories about what reality is, right? Whether the simulation theory or Saturn's time matrix or speculation on the Earth being round or flat or a globe, two common denominators is that yes, this is a plane of existence and the circle, right? In my observation or realization, I've come to the conclusion that this reality is similar to that of a CD. This kind of ties up all the theories into one. Now we have to understand how a CD works. So the spiral that you see here is called a single data track. Now this spiral goes from the center to the outside, and a laser reads the data on the spiral due to the motor rotating the disc. So the laser scans these bumps that you see in the aluminum layer, and these bumps are basically binary code encoded in ones and zeros. The laser's light waves will reflect back into the sensory component, generating an electric signal sent to the microprocessor. The microprocessor then differentiates whether or not the binary code is a 0 or 1. So not only is the layer similar to that of the layers of the Earth's core, we have the inner, outer, mantle, and the crust. And a CD, we have the label, acrylic, aluminum, and plastic. It's also similar to the binocular field of vision. So electrical impulses are communicated to the visual cortex of the brain by way of the optic nerve. The visual cortex makes sense of the electrical impulses and either files the information for future references or sends a message to the motor area for action. This is similar to that of a laser scanning the binary codes and reflecting back into the sensory component to generate an electric signal to the microprocessor. The microprocessor could be similar to that of a brain, right? So when they say you're trapped in sine or sound wave, this reality is made up of electrical impulses. If you know anything about the Tora field, the heart's electromagnetic field is one of the strongest magnetic fields in our body. It could reach up to about 3 feet, and who's to say that it can't travel a further distance? And it communicates with our brains more often than our brains communicates with our hearts. Our hearts is the first organ. When you're in energetic alignment, your heart, mind, and emotions are in a state of coherence and cooperation. Now, when you're in an incoherent state, your parasympathetic and your automatic nerve system is basically out of sync, which causes emotional anxiety, frustration, and anger. Now, this will be due to the environment that we are in being filtered through our senses. And if you didn't know, everything has a range of frequency, including our cells. Our cells resonate and respond to different frequencies. So our hearts can send electromagnetic currents that others can pick up on, which can be considered one's vibe or vibration or emotional stance. So not only are we being influenced by other people's electromagnetic currents, there are other external stimuli like vision, sound, and other frequencies that your subconscious mind can pick up on that can encourage us to act or react to the environment around us. To the CD and how it processes binary code. So the data is encoded in ones and zeros, and this made me think about the Matrix. You know how when they go into the simulation, they read everything as digits. So all the forms of information inside the simulation, the people and the environment is all based upon numerical value. And when you look at things like numerology or gematria, like in gematria, for instance, each letter has a numerical value, and each number is tied to a person, a title, a place, a movie, a show, dates or events, just all timestamps of experience. And when it comes to time, like each event in your life is an emotional current, right? Moment to moment is an experience of motion, and each experience creates like a timestamp, a view, a channel, a reel, a vision, something that you remember. So without motion, there will be no time, right? Nothing to measure. When it comes to a CD, you have a whole 363 experience. From start to finish, you watch a story from the angle of one person or persons, whoever are the characters in the story, right? And from their perception. So you experience a seasonal transition, beginning to end, summer to winter, spring to fall, from a centered observation. Also in the CD, based on the directional point of view, you're experiencing the emotions of the characters from each angle or from the character. Hot temperaments, cold temperaments, and in between. which had me thinking of the spiral. And I'm sure the spiral is familiar to you, as it being one of the most oldest and ancient symbols. We can also see this in the Ouroboros. And the Ouroboros also looks like a CD, right? It's also round. And the symbolism of the Ouroboros, the snake biting its tail, is basically the soul's transition, right? From birth, life, the afterlife. So that picture that we all know of Kronos, right? That's basically symbolizing the Ouroboros, from a childlike state to your elderly state. So Kronos is him biting his own tail because it's from birth to, when you're in an more elderly state, right? Getting closer to your transition. Even when you look at these rack of CDs, they kind of look like, the snake or dragon scales or fish scales. And Saturn also reminds me of your eyes, your iris, your pupil, like the black pupil is like the black sun. The ring around your eyes, the ring